Hello, my name is Trinita Prothro, and I'm going to be discussing marriage. The title of my presentation is Marriage for Better, but When It's Worse Enough to Divorce. First and foremost, I want to say that I do not intend to offend anybody's belief on the matter. I do believe in God. I do believe in God's word that marriage is intended to be a lifelong commitment of adjusting, of compromising, and working through your problems. I do know, though, that sometimes in life you are forced to go against some things that you believe in. First of all, I, like a lot of people in the world, was in a bad relationship, a bad marriage. We were together for 17 years, married for 8. We have 3 beautiful children together. We just could not get along. It started out with bickering and quarrels over pretty much anything, and it escalated to physical fights, verbal fights on both ends. It got so intense that we began to do such in front of our children, almost daily, and to the point where my kids were frightened behind our behavior, and we couldn't go on anymore. I want to say that I, like a lot of people, also stayed in my marriage for a lot of reasons. One of which, because of embarrassment. I didn't want people to talk about me or talk about what they think might be going on, or just whatever people do. And because of my in-laws, we had grown a relationship, and we grown a bond, and sometimes it's hard to divorce everybody. And lastly, because of my children, I felt that if I raised my children up in the same household with their mother and their father, that they would be more successful in life, and it would be better on them in the long run. But studies have shown, and I read in a journal, the journal is titled Bad Marriages Take a Toll on Children. Studies have been shown that kids that are raised in a bad marriage, typically abusive, verbally abusive marriages, have a higher tendency to become alcoholics or substance abusers. They are more at risk to drop out of school. They're more at risk to be angry, and they're more at risk to start families at an early age. As I feel that my kids really didn't incur any long-term damage, and I'm grateful of that, because they appear to be still stable, good kids. I have a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old, and an 8-year-old, and they're very good in school. Their grades are very good. They're very good at home. They're very kind-natured kids. I like to think that I got out before this marriage really harmed them, but there's really no way to know until later on. So my presentation is not necessarily for me, but it's for people in the world that may be dealing with the same things that I dealt with, or may deal with them in the future. It's not worth it to stay in a bad marriage, for the sake of your children, for the sake of your in-laws, for the sake of embarrassment. If you're unhappy, if you're at the point where your health is a factor, where you no longer value anything in life, at some point you just have to weigh your options, the pros and the cons, and make the best decision for you and your kids, if you have kids, because ultimately a bad marriage does not just affect you and your spouse, it affects your children. And I would just like to thank God that I got out, and that my kids seem to have a good relationship with their dad now, and everything seems to be okay.